Topping today's news, a massive fire at Bahamas Power and Light's North Andros plant leaves the entire community without power. Abaco Member of Parliament Kurt Cornish apologizes for his "I'm Prime Minister of Abaco" comments, and the Health Minister reacts to low non-COVID vaccination numbers for children. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jcn. This is your JCN Evening News. It is a pleasure to have you join us. Bahamas Power and Light is exploring all options following an early morning fire at its power supply plant, North Andros, leaving an entire community without electricity. It was around 3 a.m. on Wednesday that police were notified of the blaze at the Nicholstown plant. On arrival to the plant, police met 4 Caterpillar diesel engines along with a small concrete structure fully engulfed in flames. Volunteer firefighters along with police were able to bring the fire under control within a relatively short period of time, preventing the tanks holding fuel from exploding. In a statement released by Bahamas Power and Light, the fire destroyed all generator units, and as a result, Bahamas Power and Light is unable to provide electricity supply to residents and businesses in North Andros. Teams from Bahamas Power and Light have already been dispatched to the island to assess the extent of the damage and determine the cause. Officers from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Fire Service Department here in New Providence, they are also on Andros assisting with the investigations. According to police reports, during the blaze, there was no reported loss of life. Officials at Bahamas Power and Light are advising residents of the community that it is exploring all options to make temporary generation available as quickly and safely as possible. In the most recent statement on their website, Bahamas Power and Light says they are attempting to restore partial electricity to North Andros to the entire community by Thursday evening. Timing of the fire couldn't be worse, as the North Andros Regatta is also scheduled for this weekend. They've also got a homecoming event as well. We understand all events scheduled for Thursday have subsequently been canceled. After that massive fire ripped through Bahamas Power and Light's North Andros Power Station, destroying all of the mega generators needed to produce energy, residents are left stunned and in disbelief that this could happen to them. Tove McDonald, a resident of Nicholstown and owner of Andros Flex Gymnasium, which caters to dozens of clients each day working out in air conditioning spaces, says this is a blow to her business and yet another blow to the residents of North Andros. A statement today from Bahamas Power and Light Chief Operations Officer Tony Seymour says BPL is working on getting temporary generators from New Providence and Exuma to be used on Andros as quickly as possible. She says in the best case scenario, those generators would be on Andros by either Thursday or Friday, if not later into the weekend. Member of Parliament for North Andros and the Berry Islands, Leonardo Lightbourne, releasing a statement following the massive fire that destroyed Bahamas Power and Light's plant, leaving residents in darkness. Mr. Lightbourne, who is out of the country as Parliamentary Secretary for the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources and Family Island Affairs, says he has been in contact with the minister responsible for Bahamas Power and Light, Alfred Sears, and has been advised that efforts are being made to bring about temporary relief until electricity is fully restored. Add to that, as the All Andros and the Berry Islands Jubilee Homecoming is slated for this weekend, Member of Parliament Lightbourne says the acting chairman, Bernard Evans, and acting permanent secretary, Neil Campbell, they are in communication and will decide on the way forward, as there is no information on the timeline as for when electricity will be restored. Finally, he says Androsians remain grateful to God that there were no casualties as a result of that blaze. As a video of rape-accused Member of Parliament for North Abaco Kurt Cornish goes viral around the Bahamas, Jcn News understands that the alleged victim is focused on her right to have her legitimate complaint properly investigated. When Jcn asked the victim's attorney for a response to the video of MP Cornish stating that he is Prime Minister of Abaco, he said having a proper investigation is their only focus at this time. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament Cornish, who has been scolded by members of his own party, including including Member of Parliament for Central and South Abaco, John Pinder, has since released a statement apologizing for his comments that took place at a local church event on the weekend. Meanwhile, last week, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernanda responded to Attorney Bijan Ferguson's claims that police are dragging their feet on the matter in terms of the investigations into the rape allegations, saying that they do not put a time limit on investigations and that the police have been advised by the courts to generate a number of new lines of inquiry. Could we see an outbreak of polio in the Bahamas? Well, Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Dowell, on Tuesday, while speaking with reporters, addressed the topic of slowing vaccinations here in the Bahamas, and these are non-COVID vaccinations. His comments come following concerns by the Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization representative for the Caribbean, Dr. Eldona Boyson, about possible negative effects due to the lack of vaccinations. Dr. Dowell says standard immunizations are readily available here in the Bahamas.
Well, first of all, coming out of the pandemic, the Bahamas did slip in our vaccination rate. Last year, we were about, I think it was 78%. This year, we're at about 86%. So there is an uptake in vaccinations across the country. And I'm very pleased that the vaccinations are available at all of our clinics. Our digital immunization registry is proving to be very, very helpful. And we're able at any point in time to determine exactly where we are in the country with our vaccination rate. But we did slip as a result of the pandemic, and now we're back on track.
Dr. Dowell believes vaccinations are going up. However, the health minister is still advising parents to bring your children to various clinics so that they can receive their pediatric vaccines. And finally, in this segment, Deputy Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for Exuma, Chester Cooper, says progress is being made on Exuma following severe flooding last month. Islands all over the country have experienced heavy rains almost every day since the hurricane season began. And Minister Cooper says this has caused water to pool in certain places because the soil is waterlogged. And finally, in April, John Pinder, the former president of the Bahamas Public Service Union, the BPSU, announced that he will run for the union's presidency once again when elections are held in September. Appearing as a guest on Jcn Love 97's popular talk show Issues of the Day with host Christian Jones on Tuesday, Mr. Pinder answered a wide range of questions, also refuting suggestions by callers that he is trying to make a return to the Bahamas Public Service Union because of money after he failed, after his failed bid to return to the public service and his failed bid to be elected into the House of Assembly as a member of the Free National Movement in the Fox Hill constituency.
So knowing that I have to live after the presidency, I will need a pension to live on. So reaching the age 55, I said, let me get back to the government and try to give them 10 active, at least 9 to 10 active years so I can get a pension, a reasonable pension after 30 years. That's my reason for it. After the meeting of the Director of Labor, coming from Fox Hill, being a Fox Hillian, already served as president of the union directly, I said, it'd be good if I run. Maybe I'd become the minister. I was just looking for upward mobility, my brother. As relates to salaries, I served for president for 15 years, Mr. Caller. And when I retired from the union, or when I left the union to go back to government, I still did not reach the salary of Mr. William McDonald. So I didn't go after no money, my brother. I went into it for the passion and for the care and love I had for civil servants.
Mr. Pinder, who is also the former director of labor, will lead the We Care team that says it has a new 10-point vision for the Bahamas Public Service Union and the public service in general. He also refuted accusations that he left the Public Service Union in shambles after his last stint as president.
I did not leave the BPSU in no bad financial position. The biggest problem we had when I left the union would have been paying medical claims. So we had a kind of payment schedule in place where I was paying the small claims, trying to keep them current, and we was paying the big claims in portions. And so that would have been the biggest financial problem we had. Outside, that was the gas station that we were taking a loss on, and we didn't have a problem with that. At least I didn't have a problem, because what we did was we sold to our members the gas cheaper than the general public. And we did that just as an incentive to keep the membership afloat and to attract more persons to the organization.
Asked his thoughts on the efforts by the Davis administration and their efforts as it relates to the public service and the various unions, Mr. Pinder shared a positive outlook for the Progressive Liberal Party.
How the government is doing so far? I think the government is doing the best they can under the circumstances. I wish there were some things that could have been done a little better. But I think, certainly as it relates to the public service, I think Minister Pierre Glover Road is doing a very good job in executing promotions and trying to bring some relief to the people. I think they're doing as best they can.
In addition to Mr. Pender, the presidential candidate, the We Care team includes Lisa Bowleg for Executive Vice President, Deborah Folks, Secretary General, and Livingston Ferguson as Treasurer. Mr. Pender and his team will face challenges from the incumbent president, led by the incumbent, Kimsley Ferguson, and the Power team, led by presidential candidate Alexander Burrows. And that'll do it for your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Jcn Saunders. Thanks so much for joining us.